So as always, we'll start with our needs and wants. Any listings you've got, any price changes, anything you need on buyer end, all that kind of stuff. What have you got for us?
I got some lots in Centerfield. If anybody needs half-acre lots to build on in Centerfield, about 3 miles south of Gunnison.
Improved, not improved?
They are not improved. They're just being subdivided, just getting. We should have the survey done back any day now. But can't do anything, of course, until then. But I've got 1 out of 3 lots sold, so.
Pricing?
55,000.
Wow.
They're on the MLS at 50, but we'll take 55.
Wow.
45, anyone?
Yeah. All right, anybody else?
Yeah, I got
Super quiet. Wow.
I'm listing in 55 plus. Homeowners Association in Pleasant Grove called Strawberry Creek Villas. Largest plan in there, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,938 square feet. Priced at $595. Great neighbors.
I don't know. That last part's.
That sounds like puffing,
Yeah, pretty much.
puffing and puffing.
Yes, we do that too.
Anybody else?
I have my listing in Genola. It's a beautiful 5¼ acre. It's potential for to be subdivided to another building lot. They dropped it from 1.595 down to 1.395. And it's beautiful. It's horse property. It has alfalfa. It has. Anyway, if anybody's interested there in horse property.
I've got one in Provo. It's up on the east side. Gorgeous views, amazing. It's over 7,000 square feet. There's been a couple. There's one that's active on that street for $5 million. There's another one that's been off and on the market for $2.5 million. This one's at 1.425. He is negotiable somewhat. You know of anybody that wants to go in and do a project and make some good money? This would be perfect.
Need some TLC done?
It's okay, it's fine, it's just not, I mean, it was built in 79. And they just do different, some of them are different out there, it's not a big open, kind of more compartment, you know, size, but
Typical 70s type of a floor plan. What you're saying?
70s built in the 90s, yes.
What was the MLS number for?
I'll have to look that up for you.
Okay.
It's on Imperial. No problem.
Just search on the MLS and the address for the word Imperial, it'll come up.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Famous Imperial Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't had any sinking foundation problems.
This one doesn't,
There's a few up there that do.
there are some up there that it doesn't look good.
Someone up there, you could walk through the wall because it has so much. Foundation.
Right before it, so.
That's an awesome buy right there.
Yeah.
All right, going once, going twice, anybody else?
Yeah, she's.
Okay, we'll move on then. Our sponsor today is Cameron Montgomery, here from Zions Bank. She's been with us for over a year now, so love having Cameron. She also brought you some Cafe Rio that you'll get afterward. So give her love and attention and we'll give you a few minutes.
Hi, thanks for letting me come. I was joking around. I've been around a year, so it's like being family, right? I'm around once a year. So I've been with Zions Bank for over 5 years. I love it. There's lots of opportunity. If you're not familiar with all the loan products that we have, you're welcome to always call me and go into more detail. I thought it'd be good to give you an overview, just to make sure you understand all the different loan products that we have. I know that you probably talked to mortgage brokers or, your academies or Security Nationals, which I have worked for in the past. Everybody has their niche products that they do very well with and can bring opportunity for you with adding extra different types of loan products. First, what's really fun is that we have all the basic stuff. We have your FHA, USDA, VA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, first time home buyer products. We have all of that stuff. And I brought a rate sheet for you, so you can kind of, sorry. I'm gonna hand you one of these so you can follow through.
My apologies.
Oh, you're fine. Life happens.
She's doing lunch coach today.
Yeah, cafe area.
Right?
So, I did this little kind of rate matrix that goes over the different loan products that I feel, other than your first time home buyer or FHA, are really helpful.
I got a question for you.
Sure.
Yeah, does Zion Bank do like reverse mortgages and HELOCs and stuff like that, or is that outside of the?
We have HELOCs.
Yeah.
They're still a little bit high right now because of the market, but I think they're coming down, I think 8.5, 8 3/4, something like that. I don't personally do HELOCs, but I have bankers that I can always refer you to that do a very good job at doing the HELOCs. We don't offer a reverse mortgage. We haven't done that for like 20 years. Quite honestly, I have a friend at Security National when I worked there that that's all he does is reverse mortgages. So if you ever need a contact, you're welcome to reach out to me. We're good referring partners. He refers to me as Jumbo, I refer him reverse mortgage. It works great. So if you want to, he's good because he just knows what he's doing. So if you ever need someone. Rural housing. Yes, we offer rural housing. I don't specialize that also, but I can refer it to someone within my team for the rural housing. And same with FHA. Your Fannie Mae Home Ready really covers, if you're gonna do an FHA loan with 3% down, unless they really have bad credit or a real extreme reason why did you have to go FHA? I think the Fannie Mae Home Ready is a lot better of a loan. It's 3% down, and the mortgage insurance, if you're a first-time home buyer, is less than if you're not a first-time home buyer. And right now, that interest rate is finally in the 5.875% without any costs. If your client gets a checking or a savings account with Zions, we will give them up to 1/4, or if they're already a banking customer, we'll give them up to 1/4% towards your closing costs, which often covers all of our fees and sometimes part of the appraisal. So that's, we have very low closing costs. Your Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, you're conforming 5% down. That's at 6.375 right now. High balance. That's a pretty good opportunity. Oh, darn. I forgot. Well, if you're in Summit or Washington County, that's when you can do high balance. You can't do high balance here, so sorry. So then you'd want to consider our jumbo 30-year fixed. So any loan amount above your conforming loan limits, 766, would be considered jumbo. And we have a 30-year fixed at 6.75 with no points right now. So that's a pretty good loan. Our other specialty is our portfolio, 15% down, no mortgage insurance. Any loan amount up to 1.5 million. 6.75% with a cost of 0.375. Now, you won't use this very often in that price range, but if your client chooses to deposit with Zions Bank, $250,000, they get 0.5% off their interest rate. So our portfolio jumbo loans, like the one I like right now is our portfolio 7-1 ARM, which is jumbo is anything over 766. 6.375, and then if they deposit 250,000 to half off of the rate, gives you 5.875, which is for current market. It's pretty good. We also have our one-time closed construction loans. We have a one-time closed remodel loan, and we do offer lot loans. Our lot loans are complicated, so if you have someone, I think you had someone over here that had horse property. We don't do land loans. It has to be a developed property. It has to have, what infrastructure and a buildable lot. So, but anyway, does anyone have any questions on those interest rates or programs?
Is your hotel the same as the hotel?
Well, we offer all condo products. So we have our Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac conforming condos, which you guys probably have a lot where they don't allow daily or nightly rentals. And then we have what's called non-warrantable condos, meaning if they have daily and nightly rentals, they don't fall under Fannie Mae. It's our portfolio product where you do one of the arms. Keep in mind, there's some really, I know in the past, ARMs did not, 2008, 2010, people thought ARMs were horrible. Okay, when you were doing ARMs back then, usually you had a prepayment penalty, so you couldn't refinance out. So you were doing a 2-year ARM or a 3-year ARM with a 4-year prepay. And so it made it difficult to refinance out of an ARM to a 30-year fix or to reduce your interest rate. We don't have a prepayment penalty, and it's predicted that interest rates are going to go down. So most likely people aren't going to keep this loan for more than a year anyway. So if the opportunity gives them a lot better interest rate to do the portfolio ARM, they're not going to keep it more than 3 to 5 years. Just because the interest rates are going to be going down. The other thing with Zions is if you're a Zions Bank customer and you do one of the portfolio loans, if interest rates drop, we will modify your loan down to whatever the current market is. For $1,000 fee, you don't have to requalify, but you stay with your current existing loan. So if it was a 7-1 ARM and you've been paying on it for 2 years and you get your lower interest rate, it's just a modification. It's not a refinance. So you'd still only have 5 years left on the loan, but you get the lower interest rate without having to requalify. So that's a good benefit as well.
What are the fees for refinancing when the rates drop and people want to refinance it? Each of these different loans would be a different.
It'd be a little bit different, yeah. So if it was a Fannie Mae Freddie Mac, we may not even have the loan at that time because it's a sellable loan. But we still have really low closing costs, so it would still be beneficial for them to refinance with me. And I'd already have some of their information, so it'd be quite a bit easier.
Can you streamline it?
We can do some streamlines. Those are options. But if it's a portfolio loan, that's one that Zions will keep in service. We'll just let them reduce their interest rate for $1,000 fee. And that just covers, like a little bit of title work and a little bit of processing. That's what that fee is for. And, but what's really cool is, let's say somebody's credit or income changes over a couple of years, they'll still let you modify without requalifying. That's what's really nice. And it's just $1,000. So that's what I really like about that product.
So would you recommend portfolios loans instead of eligible loans, because the interest rates are going to drop and then they only have the $1,000 fee? Whereas
every client's going to be different. That's why I think it's really nice to send your clients to me, is because I can tell them all the difference of their opportunities and weigh out the pros and the cons. I can say, okay, well, you'll get a better rate here at Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or in portfolio, you have to put down a bigger down payment. Because if you notice, our portfolio would price 20% down. So, every client's going to be different and their needs are going to be different and their goals are going to be different. And so I just help guide them in the best direction that fits their needs. And I have all the products, so it helps a lot. Any other good questions though? Thank you for your feedback. I appreciate that. Anyone else have any questions?
With your construction loan, how does that one work? So like you just come up with 20% and you guys will finance the whole thing and then it'll be on like the disbursements?
We have a variety of different options depending on the builder. So a lot of builders right now, because of all the risk that they've had, they do a cost plus, and then we pay a percentage of completion. So, which most builders, unless you're a new builder just starting out, that's kind of how a lot of builders are. If you do a fixed price, which we can do, then that means the builder's taking a lot of the risk, because he's saying he's going to build that, or I have a lot of female builders say they're going to build it for 700,000. That's what it's got to come in at. And so they hold a lot of risk of that. But so cost plus is they get all the bids and then the builder charges a percentage above that. But it's a one-time closed construction loan. The interest rate is the same interest rate during construction as it is for the long term. When they're 90% complete with building, if interest rates are lower, we will modify the interest rate at no charge at all. But that's before it modifies to the long-term loan. Once it's modified to the long-term loan at whatever that rate is, it won't go up. It'll just, if there's an opportunity to reduce it, we'll reduce it. But when you modify to the long-term loan, it's the same interest rate. And then if rates drop again, that's where they would charge the $1,000 fee after it's been modified to lower the rate.
So if I'm understanding right, that means it'd be a really good time to get into new construction, because by the time you're closing, you would hope that interest rate would have already dropped, and then you're actually getting the lower rate, even though you jumped in at the higher rate. You're gonna knock the rate down by the time it's completed, and we'd expect in 8 months it would have dropped even more.
Yes, exactly, and then you're taking advantage of current cost to build right now is a little bit low, quite a bit lower actually than it was last year. Your lumber, your steel, your plumbing, your foundation is a lot less expensive right now. So you're getting in still at a really good time. Yes, maybe your interest rate's a little bit higher, but remember, it's interest only as you use it. So by the time it accrues and gets bigger, you're going to be almost done with the house. You get to take advantage of the lower interest rate and then modify into your loan without requalifying. So it is a very good loan.
What is like most builders' requirement payments? Like in Australia, it's like when the slab goes down, when the framing goes up, when the roofing goes up, they like take different amounts at each stage. But
Correct.
is this more you pay at the very end, or you are doing payments?
Well, it's during,
different
it's a
stages?
percentage of completion. So if they get 10% done and they want paid, then you have, you start being charged interest on that 10%. And then next month, if they've taken 20%, then you'll be charged interest on 20%. And it just keeps growing throughout as the builder does draws.
Okay.
Good questions. And I love construction loans. Really good at them. That's why I came to Designs. Any other questions? All right, well, I'll take really good care of your clients. I can help them with all loan products. I've been doing this for 25 years. Maybe I need to be careful with that, but
Thank you.
I'd love to help you. You're welcome. Enjoy lunch.
Thank you.
Thank you. How are you?
And Cameron's obviously your contacts here, but she's got some business cards as well. Feel free to visit with her afterwards if you've got questions or specific client needs. So she does a great job with her clients. Just as a reminder, we have our in-house partners, Veris Title with Brenda Hansen, Casey Zimmerman is our loan officer with Encompass, and then Dagley Insurance. I've got some great rates through Dagley lately. If that interests you or your clients, just have them go to fathomquotes.com. But then call that number and get someone to help them there. So good products there. I will mention Encompass is currently, their current offer is that they'll pay for the appraisal up to $750. So just know that. New people to Fathom Realty, we've got.
So Jeff,
Carrie
does that
here
mean they're
actually.
not doing the $1,000 anymore?
I believe the $1,000 was sunsetted, but I have to check on that one. Carrie's here. You want to introduce yourself, Carrie?
Sure. Me or her?
Carrie Percy. We'll go to Carrie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie. New to the team. I'm also a recruiter for Fathom. So if you have anybody that's interested in joining, just send them my way and I'll help them.
Carrie does a great job with recruiting. I'm working with her. Carrie Nielsen is back. Want to reintroduce yourself?
Well, I've been with Broker Bill since I started real estate. Left for a little bit, came back. Most of you probably know me anyway, so.
Good to have you back, Carrie.
Thanks.
And Tyler just joined us as a brand new agent. You want to introduce yourself? Tell a little about yourself.
Tyler Flynn, like I said, I'm new to the real estate world. I do real estate, my current role, I just doing this part-time.
Good to have you all. We've got some great people. Some more coming on board this month, so our team is growing. There's some really good reasons for why we're growing. We'll talk a little bit about that later, but we offer a great product. So if you know anybody that would like to come, just let Gary or I know. We'll be happy to get them on board.
Is Ken still doing any of it?
Ken is still a recruiter as well. So if you want to send it to Ken, either one would be happy to help you. So some current frequently asked questions. I get to ask these questions right now pretty much daily, if not multiple times a day. So just wanted to go through them with everybody. So this is a big one. This time of year, I get this question 5-6 times a day at least. And when will you get your 1099? Fathom says it will be uploaded in your Intel agent on or before the 31st of January. It will be the 31st of January. Just count on it. That's the day it'll be there. So look for that to be in your account. Same process as last year. If you're not sure what that process is, look for my email recap. It'll have a link to show you how to get that 1099 out, how to decode it and what your password is and all that kind of stuff.
Translate bull crap into English.
No.
Okay,
No, sorry.
that's for the CPA. huh?
Yep. You've all got a link now probably to sign new documents for this year, and part of that, if you are an L, or if you get paid currently as an LLC, an SSC Corp or whatever, you're gonna notice that you've got a personal W-9 in there with your own name on it. We're required to have that as well. You won't get paid to that entity, to your personal account, but we're required to have it. Not only for our legal purposes, but also because if we do give you stock for recruiting, whatever, that has to be paid to a person. That stock can't be granted to an entity. So that's one of the reasons that we need that W-9 on file. Does Fathom have any transaction coordinators? I get this one all the time. And yes, we have 4 really great transaction coordinators. They've all got great pricing. And so if you want to know who they are, I'm happy to do that. Or if you just want me to give you who I think would be a best fit personality wise with you, happy to do that as well, because they've all got different ways of doing business. I want to charge a transaction fee to my buyer or seller. How much do I charge? And this typically comes with, can I hire a transaction coordinator, because they want to pass off the cost of the transaction coordinator to their client. And so, yes, you can. You can charge any amount you want up to a maximum of $550 to your client as a transaction fee. It's not encouraged. It's not something we love, but if you want to do it, you can. If you're going to do it, it must be on the exclusive right to sell or the buyer broker spot where it says dollar amount and percentage. Whoever's on Zoom, you need to mute. Last question. I want to do more business this year, and I'm getting this lots and lots. How do I do that? So let's talk a little bit about how we can do that. First of all, business plans. So how many of you formed a business plan for this year? How many of you are brave enough to say you didn't form a business plan for this year?
I started.
Okay, you're starting. Okay. What are the struggles? How many of you have fallen off already? We're 3 weeks in. We struggling already?
Yep.
Yeah. Why?
It's not following through on the commitments that I made to myself.
Because
Mostly because Kay has taken me over to Arizona to have to learn how to call on my leads. I blame it on her.
hey. So it's all Kay's fault.
It's all Kay's fault. Does that work?
I personally don't think so, but
No.
yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. What other struggles are you having? Why aren't we following through with our business plans?
Just trying to separate your time to the different areas.
Okay.
Your different funnels of business and give fair time,
Okay.
Trying to give them fair time to
Good reason.
the calling program Brooke's talking about, but still my own clients that always feed me good. So just trying to make my perfect week so I give everything time, and then the deal comes in and then you drop it all and then you kind of trying to still do it all.
Okay. That's the hard part, is balancing when you finally do get a deal and saying, hey, how do I keep my marketing going and still do my current deals, right? That's
Yeah,
difficult.
That's what?
That's a difficult thing
That's
to
a
do.
difficult thing to
It's
do.
hard to keep all the stuff you start and work on your deals at the same time.
Absolutely.
I think also remembering it. I mean, I'm really bad at, like, I do plans and like have like this super cool ideas and everything, and then I get to like the office or the computer even, and it just like flies away, and whatever I have there, it's what I'm doing instead.
Yeah.
So
If I did all the things on the sticky notes in that office right there, it would be amazing. I would have a perfect business, right? But I don't follow through. I don't keep it in front of me. I don't remember. I don't do those
Yeah.
things.
I've tried to work on my self-discipline, and I've determined that self-discipline is a matter of making a commitment to yourself and then promise to yourself and then following through,
Mhm.
of which I'm not very good at. Yeah,
None
but
of us are.
every day is a new day.
Yeah.
And so that I'm trying to work on that and get better every day. That's kind of my theme, is every day is better. I have every day to become better. at doing what I'm trying to do. And, you know, the market and real estate itself has changed, no question. I've just kind of, for example, gone away from working with as many for sale by owners as I have, just because they're getting living dog crap kicked out of them with 3,600 real estate agents in Utah County. It's just one of those situations that they're getting the tar kicked out of them, and they let you know it when you call. You're the 100th real estate agent calling, you know.
Yeah.
And I just, yeah, I'm trying to turn another corner and go a different direction in my prospecting. But I'm also realizing at the time that I do that I've not been one to follow up on leads and do lead gen type of stuff. And that's about one lead out of 100 is a good lead. And that's a lot of phone calls to make to find out and sift through all those, you know, don't call me at gmail.com, you know, but yet send me what value of my house is to that email address. It's no good.
Right.
And they give you the address. And so I can still drive to their house and knock on their door, even though
their CMA.
Yeah. And so it's just a different, different idea and analogy to be able to change how you think about doing real estate.
Sure.
It's different.
Okay.
The thing I've noticed different, this might help all of you, you're in different stages of your life. So you run into different people. And those people you run into as you're living your life are great prospects because they learn to know, like, and trust you. For instance, one funnel of business that I'm really missing now, my kids are all grown up, is sitting around at their ball games and their programs and their stuff and talking to people and turning them into clients.
Mhm.
So I have to replace it and think about it with the activities I do now.
You join a bowling league?
Problem, my arm won't go straight, it wants to roll, and it don't work. Very good.
The grandkids program.
You can do the bingo, right? Bingo.
Yeah, I need to get my grandkids as friends, and yeah, I'm working on it.
So part of this exercise is not just to get you thinking about what do I need to get back on track with, but it's also to just remind you that we all struggle with this, right? There's nobody who just lays out a business plan. I don't know about nobody, maybe somebody does. Somebody that I don't know lays out a business plan and then does it perfectly all the way through the year, right? It's very difficult to stick to those things. So just a reminder to get back on track and to actually, start again if you've fallen off the horse and those kind of things. If you don't have a business plan and you really want to work on one and you need some help, I'll send this link in the email as well, but this is always my link. You can link to me there all the time to get an appointment with me. Honestly, you don't really need to have an appointment, just come in. Tim does it all the time, just stops by and says hi. It's better if you bring donuts, but if you don't, it's okay. And then if you haven't been following your plan, like I said, don't beat yourself up. It's okay. It's okay that you fall off track every once in a while. Just take a step, start again, you'll be okay, right? Other things to improve your business, we've got upcoming mastermind groups. So our basic mastermind group, we're currently focusing on building buyer systems, so that you've got the system in place for your buyers as they go through the process. Our second class on that will be February 5th. If you didn't go to the first one, it's okay. Just let me know you want to join. I'll catch up to speed on where we're at and what you can do. So we'll be focusing on that for the next two. And then starting in March, we'll start on our seller listing presentation and seller system and those kind of things. Our advanced mastermind class kind of fell to pieces. Like, I had a bunch of people who said they want to do it and then nobody did it. So if you want to get back to doing that, just let me know. I'm happy to get it going again. Just need to know that you actually want to do it. And as always, if you just want to join, just let me know. Hopefully you all saw this. This is an amazing opportunity for you to kind of get back in the mindset of what you're doing and focus on some really good things. Billy Nunez is our state director down in Florida. He also has state broker. He's also got some other.
Yeah, it's something of culture.
Yeah.
Chairman of culture. I don't know, something.
Yeah, guru of culture.
Made up night.
Yeah. But anyhow, he's an amazing person. I love listening to him. I love listening to him speak and teach and tell his stories. And he started in January. We had one in January. And that recording's not up yet. I was gonna play a little clip for you, but it's not up yet. But some really good stuff. And our next class on that is February 15th at 11 a.m. So put that on your calendars. It's through the Fathom Academy. You have to go there to register, and that's how you get in and watch the webinar. But some really good stuff there. So make sure you see that.
And he's only doing 4 of those.
Four of those as of right now.
Yeah.
Then want to give you this little clip from Ninja.
Hello Ninjas, Larry Kendall here with your weekly Ninja action tip. What is it that drives our business? Some would say it's the economy. Others would say it's interest rates. I would say those influence the business, but what really drives real estate is change. Change in people's lives. Change in their Ford, their family, their occupation, their recreation, and their dreams. Did you know that there'll be 7 million babies born over the next 2 years? 3 million marriages, 1.5 million divorces, and 50 million job changes. All of those will affect real estate. So what do we do? Well, one of the things we should be doing right now as we start the new year is we should be building our warm list. Our warm list is made up of people that are going through some sort of change and may want to do something this next year. In interviewing top producing ninjas, many of them already know how many transactions they will be doing in 2024 based upon their warm list. I was talking with a ninja recently. He says, "Oh, it looks like I have 36 transactions already scheduled for 2024. Having that level of detail about your business, knowing what drives your business, building the relationships with your people so that you know the changes that are going on in their lives, so that you can help them go from the life they have to the life they dream about. That's the key. Your action tip for the week? Take a look at your warm list. Build that warm list. Build it around the changes that are going on in the lives of your clients. That's your tip for the week. Have a great week. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, so takeaways from this. There's 3 million marriages and 1.5 million divorces. So it's a 50% rate. You don't have a very good chance if you get married. So seriously, takeaways.
This kind of goes along with the seminar that Kay and I just got back from too. Being able to identify your next 4 or 5 transactions and paychecks. Can you identify them? And the one thing that it was really drilled into our head is the need to continually every single day prospect in the morning and in the evening and determine which, as you're calling these people, when's the best time to get a hold of them. And you got to contact these people sometimes 10 times or reach out to them 10 times before you get them to answer the phone. And if you're only calling once a day, or you're only calling, once every 3 days, it's gonna take that much longer to get a hold of the person and then find out, why, you came to my site and we're looking at homes in this area. What caused you to do that? You had change in job, and just asking them questions. And, I had a really good call this morning, the client that, a lead. And, through talking to them, just build a report, and they're not looking to do anything in the next, 3 months. They're probably 6 months out, but he says, yeah, let's keep in contact. And I said, yeah, this is our chance for me to be able to try to help you, clean up your credit, those types of things. I've got a lender that can do that. Those kind of things were things that he appreciated knowing after we got a chance to talk. But if I wouldn't have kept making the phone calls, I don't get to talk to him.
Sure.
And that's one of the things that I found too, is that there's not a bunch of good quality leads. Everybody's looking for free information. And until you get a hold of them, build a rapport, that's all it is sometimes a bogus lead.
On a cold lead, it's very difficult, right? For sure. And a lot of what was talked about in this clip was more your warm leads, the people that the people in your SOI, talking to them about Ford, the changes in their family, their occupation, recreation, their dreams. Actually having conversations, right? I absolutely hate cold prospecting. If I had to do that for a living, I would just quit. I would go work at McDonald's. Literally. Like I wouldn't do that. You're a good man to be able to do it. Because I don't do that, right? But I do enjoy calling my clients and just having a normal conversation with them, talking to them about their family, the changes that are going on, and then listening for things that I may be able to help them with in the real estate market to be able to improve their lives.
Well, looking over, I mean, I think before you go, as you're doing your plan, looking at where every single deal comes from last year.
Absolutely.
When did it start? How did it start? Why did it start? What change in life made those people do it? And what I found from last year's stuff, which I don't know, middle of the year was pretty good for me. And a lot of them were high sales and a lot of them weren't very high priced and weren't very time consuming. But they were people that started talking to me about what they did anywhere from 6 months to 2 years before that. When I had all my agents, they only thought of what's right in front of you. You need to get in a business where you're thinking of it all long term. Every time you're not ready to do it now, I taught put when you got to check back, keep checking back. And then when they finally do it, it almost seems too dang easy, but you really have been working on it for 2 years.
Yeah.
And those times when you thought you weren't accomplishing anything, you really were.
Yeah, filling that pipeline, making sure that it's full
Pipeline.
all the time, right? Okay. All right, want to move to something totally different here. There are a ton of scams out there, and Allison actually sent me this one, happened to her yesterday. I'm gonna play a call for you. This is the voicemail that first came through.
Hello, Alison. Good morning. My name is Jason. Currently, I have a property for sale, and I got your number from the sites of Realtors, and you had good reviews. So I really love to work with you. Kindly reach out to me as soon as possible so we could discuss business. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so his name was Jason. What's his last name?
McGowan.
Jason McGowan. All right.
Sure sounded like that.
This is Jason McGowan. Right? Jason McGowan. Allison later reached out to him by text and said, "Hey, it's how you doing?" And he said, "Good. I called earlier. I got your number from the site. No idea what the site is. Right? You have good reviews, and I'd love to work with you. I have a property for sale. Would you be able to assist?" And Allison says, "Well, where is it?" He gave the address. It's in Mapleton. And so she checked, is it vacant land? It was vacant land. She said, "Well, I'd love to help you. Why are you selling?" And he said, "I need enough funds to aid a personal issue. My granddaughter is ill and needs surgery. If you would help me sell real quick, trust me, you will get a very good percentage from me." Right? So she followed up and said, "Hey, are you in Utah? Your number comes up as a South Carolina number." He says, "Yeah, I'm not in Utah currently. You're right. It's South Carolina. I'm always out of town due to business. So what do we do to move forward?" So Allison, being the amazing agent she is, did you check with title or county records or?
County records.
So county records, got a mailing address for the owners of the property.
Which is Jason McGowan.
Which is Jason McGowan. They live in Provo. Yeah. She actually drove from her home in Salem to Provo, knocked on their door and said, "Hey, is this you?" Right? And the wife's like, "This is not me. And this has happened to us before," the whole thing. So this is a very common scam. Vacant land scams happen all the time. Be very cautious. Out of Colorado, I must get warnings from the MLSs 2-3 times a week on scams just like this. So just be really aware that this is happening. It's easy to want to do this, right? It's easy to want to say, "Hey, I've got someone calling me. They want to list their land." Easy to list land. It's easy to sell land. They want to sell cheap and quick. Easy commission, right? So it's the way that agents get baited in. Just be really careful about this. Use your title companies. Make sure that you're verifying who it is. Carrie, you look like you got a question, right? Yeah.
No, I'm just confused.
Okay.
What was the outcome? What was he looking to sell somebody else's property?
Yeah. Yeah, so they actually,
For that?
yeah, it's actually gone all the way through before.
Wow.
They have everything from fake IDs to utility bills to all kinds of stuff that they can show that they own this property, right? And if you don't have a title agent or yourself that's actually very vigilant about what's happening, they'll give you an account number to wire the money to in the Caymans or Swiss Bank or wherever, I don't know, but yeah.
And they usually price them
below the market quite a bit so that they'll sell like that.
Yep.
And they want a fast closing and sometimes they want cash. So it all happens so fast before the actual real owners even know that their lot just got sold.
Yeah, and this, because they're sellers, they don't have to appear, they can usually just sign right there, or they'll send out and do it through a notary. The notary is a buddy of theirs or whatever, and
So if that happens, what happens to the agent that sold somebody's land without?
probably not good things. Yeah, Brooke.
I don't know how many of you use the forewarn app,
Mhm.
but I just typed this phone number into the forewarn app and it came out as nothing. There's no information. I've also started using this in my leads.
It's really
To
good.
verify that the people are who they are, and it'll give you the address where they're living at. And so here again, it just gives us another contact information to be able to say, okay, is this person real?
Yeah.
And so if you're not using the forewarn app, it's $60 a year.
You gotta do it through the board though.
And you gotta do it through the board. All the time, they'll hook you up. Otherwise, it's like, I don't know, $150 or something like that. But you go through the board, it's $60 for the whole year. And this has been a really good app to be able to tell me how legitimate are these people. And I can do it right there before you even make the phone call and find out if they're good.
Yep. It's called Forewarn, so if you're interested, look it up. UCAR has it, Salt Lake Board has it.
If you want to find
Some
out if
MLSs have it,
you have
so
any
I
warrants
do.
out for your arrest or something, you can put your own phone number in.
I'm sure you check that all the time. Ron?
So let's say that it goes through and the lot sells. Who's gonna wind up as being stuck, the seller or the buyer?
No, the seller, because it's if the fake seller sells that lot, it gets titled the new buyer's name.
No, it's fraud.
It is right.
But from my understanding, because so my friend he's had his lot listed 3 times. And fortunately, it's around the corner from him. And a neighbor, it's around the corner behind, so he doesn't drive by it all the time, but a neighbor will call and say, hey, I thought you were gonna tell me when you listed that lot or before you listed it. He's like, I didn't list it. Anyways, it's happened 3 times, but the title code company told them that, so he's put the lots free and clear. Usually all these lots have no liens on them. And so he's gone and put his own lien on it, which forces the title company to reach out to him in case someone tried to do this, but he was told that if a scammer were to go through with this, he's screwed because that lot is now titled in another buyer's name. It may have happened through fraud, but as far as what they had from the fake seller, it was all legit. And so that's what he was told.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the outcome is.
So-
It becomes a legal issue at that point,
Yeah.
so. It's not our wheelhouse. One other one, not to scare you too much, and I've got another one besides this, but not to scare you too much, but out of Colorado, you probably saw on our Facebook page. There was someone that deep faked an agent. So basically he called his voicemail, took his voicemail, plugged it into artificial intelligence, made it so that artificial intelligence could sound just like him. And then had a robocaller call a whole bunch of people, including his clients, with some very nasty stuff. That really kind of hurt his business because of it, right? And so these deep fakes exist. Just be aware, like if you get a call from Ron cussing you out, that's probably right? But if you get one from Cody, it's probably you want to call Cody and just check and make sure it's him, right?
I've heard about this one, but I actually had this happen the other day, and that's where got a call, I picked it up, it was a perfectly clear connection. And it was a guy that said, I'm sorry, I can't hear you, can you hear me? And he wanted me to say yes, because they record the yes in your voice. And then they're off and running, having you agree to a lot of stuff. So fortunately, I knew about it, I didn't do it.
Artificial intelligence is going to make things very difficult in the future, so just be aware. We'll try and keep you updated.
Yeah, I had somebody tamper with my email. Thank goodness my clients called me because they were like, I thought you wanted us to wire the money here, but we just got an email and you said to wire it here. And what they did was they changed one letter in my email and then took everything else. So it looked like it came from me, but it didn't. So that can happen as well.
Very typical man in the middle, email scam for wire fraud, so always be vigilant of those. This one happened last week, I'm sure y'all got a text from me, but you know, you guys are gonna get text saying it's me, that I'm in a closing, or I'm in a conference, or I'm in Mexico on vacation, and I need you to go buy gift cards for me. Okay, that it's not me, these are my numbers. These are the only numbers I'll contact you from, no other numbers. And these are my email addresses. You won't get emails or phone calls or texts from me besides this, nothing else. And on top of that, I can buy my own gift cards. I don't need you guys. Just don't need you to go buy gift cards for me. So if you get stuff from me from any number besides this, whatever they're asking you to do, it's a scam. And that includes like Bill Telford, and you'll get stuff from all of us, right? So just be aware, they scam this all the time. So just be very vigilant. All right, let's get into some market stats to kind of close out. January, this is just as of yesterday, we had 7,500 active listings. In contrast, in October, we were almost up to 10,000 at that point.
That's for the whole state, correct?
That's for the whole state of Utah, yeah. For our solds, the last 90 days, we've sold 7,000 homes. As of October, the 90 days previous to that, we were at about 9,000. So
90 days.
Yeah, this is 90 days worth. This is down, if you look year over year, that's down 22% from where we were last year. And our under contracts were actually up, which is a good stat. We saw interest rates come down a little bit at the end of last month, 1st of January. Saw a little bit of bump in the market. Rates have gone up since then, and so we're starting to feel it again, but that's where we were. As of last year, we had 4,600 homes under contract. As of right now, we've got 3,800 homes. Active listings, this is a graph for the last 2 years, 22, 23, and January of this year. So showing the number of active listings, we always go through this little bit of a bump. This is December to December. We're actually higher. We've got just a little bit more active listings right now than we did last year at this time. So that's good to see. If you look at our average price per square foot, best time to buy, fall into December, somewhere in there. That's where we always see just that little bit of dip. It's interesting though, it's hard of a market as we continue to say we're in. Our prices did not dip as much as they did last year, right? So we're actually higher, significantly higher. And overall, since, last year, we've been on an upward trend in pricing. We're not seeing, we continue to hear over and over that we're going to see this major crash, right? And there's really no signs of that coming. So just be aware of that. So this is under contracts. This is the number of homes going under contract. And again, December, if you thought December was slow, you're 100% right? We almost hit 3,000 under contracts in December. So that's the lowest point that we've been in probably 5 years, 5.5 years. So really slow December. If we overlay, this is an overlay of mortgage rates. So starting at 2% up to 8%. You can always see that, whoops, let me go back to that. You can always see interest rates have a major effect. As rates go up, our under contracts drop. As rates go down, our under contracts go back up. So it really is one of the most important factors for your buyers is affordability. What's going to happen with interest rates? So last week, unemployment numbers fell, and that made rates go up a little bit. This Thursday, so tomorrow, the GDP, the jobless claims, and the new home sales reports are due. Friday, the PCE inflation number is supposed to come out. And the consensus is that the Fed will push their first rate hike, or sorry, their first rate cut. We're used to hikes. So their first rate cut probably further into spring. They're really not sure if the economy is doing what they want to do. So unless we see better numbers overall, so the Fed likes to actually see people lose their jobs. So if we see more jobs lost, those kind of things, then we'll actually see rates get a little bit better.
I don't see Trump winning New Hampshire up there.
No, Trump winning New Hampshire is not up there. And so that'll likely put us into May, April and probably a more flat market in spring than we're anticipating. So just be aware that that's where we're going to be. Lawsuits. So I want to give you a quick recap of where we are with our lawsuits. We know that Sitzer Burnett was, the judgment came out, but we're waiting for a final decision on damages and for the judge to approve all that. That will likely happen spring 2024, and that will also be whether or not there's any changes to the buyer compensation model in Missouri specifically, right? Because that's where that one was filed. But obviously, if he comes down with a ruling, that will have far greater impact as far as how that affects us, or if it does. There's the Gibson lawsuit. That's also in Missouri. It's the same as Sitzer Burnett. Defense has until early 2024 to respond, and NAR is asking to delay this case until Sitzer Burnett is actually resolved. The Moore one was filed in Illinois. It's the same as Sitzer Burnett. It goes to trial in 2024. And there's actually a motion from the defense, from NAR and those defending, to throw this one out because this one's been going on for years and years and litigation has gone nowhere. And so we're actually asking it to basically be thrown out. Leader Batten, there's a Leader Batten 1 and a Leader Batten 2. They're both in Illinois. These are from buyers instead of sellers who say that there was a conspiracy to keep the commissions inflated. And number 1 was initially dismissed in 2022, but after Sitzer Burnett, it got brought back. So seeing where that one's going to go. This one's in Massachusetts, and it's a case against the MLSs with the same charges as Sitzer and Burnett. Some of the defendants have settled. Most are waiting to hear for an approval for the lawsuit in the spring. Burton in South Carolina, very early stages. March in New York, again, very early stages, and that one's just in Manhattan for the most part. The QJ teams, that's in Texas. That includes Fathom Realty being named. It alleges antitrust violations and violations against the Texas Deceptive Trade Protections Act. That one's also in early stages. Martin includes Fathom Realty. That one's in Texas, and it's very similar to Sitzer Burnett. Springway in Pennsylvania. One in Florida, one in California, one in Georgia. The Oompa one is a nationwide lawsuit, so that includes brokerages with nationwide reach. The Friedman lawsuit in New York, and that one's specifically about Brooklyn's most expensive areas and the MLSs being in conspiracy on that one. And then we've got Illinois, Arizona, Nevada, and 2 more with Fiero just coming out in California. And those are all obviously in very early stages. As far as named defendants thus far, there's a whole bunch of them, right? So these are this is honestly a shorter list than the actual number of people who have been named as defendants at this point. I just got, like, minutes before we started our meeting, I got a brief from NAR. NAR, there was a move or some kind of a legal move from the plaintiffs to consolidate 19 of these cases to the same judge who did Sitzer Burnett and have him oversee all of those cases as a consolidated case. And so that was, NAR today filed a motion to move that actually, I think, into Illinois for a different judge to see that one. They believe that it would be best if we do consolidate all of these into one. And so they're on board with doing that. They just don't want it to be the same judge that oversaw Sitzer Burnett. So waiting to see where that one actually goes, if we're going to be able to consolidate.
Can I say something too?
Yep.
You know, so I've had a couple of calls with Marco and Josh, Marco Fragnol, or what's his name?
Our CEO.
Yeah, CFO too.
Yeah.
But anyways, so last week they had many meetings with the attorneys, and they're expecting this within the next few months to just become a nationwide, probably consolidate everything into one class action lawsuit. Every real estate company in the country will then be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that Josh mentioned last week that I didn't know, because the premise of these lawsuits is just garbage. And I keep saying, where's the defense on this? And apparently these lawsuits have been filed as what's called per se, which means you can't defend. You're automatically accused of doing wrong and you can't defend yourself.
I mean, we're watching it happen to Trump as we go through this whole thing.
Yeah, but we're not going to get into politics.
I get that.
So what they're trying to do, what the attorneys are pushing, is to try to push this into what's called rule of law, which gives all the defendants a chance to defend themselves. So that's what they're working on, but that's why these
That's
lawsuits
why-
are going through so fast, because they can't defend themselves.
That's-
And the judge that they don't want a part of this anymore has a whole history. He's never cited once in his whole career with defendants, always only the plaintiffs.
So this just seems to me like. Maybe I'm way behind, but it just seems like a huge agenda to destroy the real estate industry. And,
make changes and such and to hopefully gain a whole bunch of money. for
Yeah.
The attorneys.
and so these are all just copycat
Class action lawsuits.
lawsuits.
Yeah.
And it just makes me wonder if there's a mothership somewhere that's decided.
I'm sure that there are, but.
I do think though, from the downside of it all, there will be, in my opinion, a big consolidation throughout the country of all of these small real estate companies will probably be gone through this whole process. And so, you know, we're positioned really well with Fathom, especially being a publicly traded company, to be able to fight through these and sustain and maintain through all of it. And so, you know, we're gonna see, I think, the dominoes fall over the next couple of years, but this whole process could be 4 to 5 years.
Yeah,
Sure.
right.
Brooke and then Carrie.
I think it's kind of interesting too, the ones that settled. The brokers that settled it made millions just because they agreed to settle.
Right.
Like, holy cow,
That's
that just,
crazy.
I talk to brokers every day and agents about them moving over to Fathom because the smaller brokerages won't be able to fight. So a lot of them are not even aware of what's going on. And so I'm educating them on what's coming down the pipe and how they should prepare and plan for that, especially if they're with a smaller brokerage.
Yeah, and Fathom's been approached by a number of brokerages. I can't talk about whom or what. To acquire them.
Public. You can say. Right.
I don't know if it's public or not, so I'm gonna err on the side of not.
Well, what's considered a small brokerage, like a one, just a
So.
couple of agents?
Agents.
I mean, what are we?
We're talking more like a local
11,000.
brokerage, right? We're talking local brokerages that are just
Yeah.
in Utah, right? Or something
Right,
like that,
very
would be
small.
considered a smaller brokerage. And even if they've got 500 agents, that's a small brokerage. So.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult, when you're talking about damages at $18 billion,
Right.
right? Can a 500 agent brokerage even come close? Right? They have no ability to defend themselves over years and years and years of whatever this is going to take place. So a couple things to take away. Fathom's well positioned, right? We do have brokerages actually approaching us and wanting to join with us because of these lawsuits, right? Because we are well positioned. And then number two, in Utah, we're very well positioned because you know, most agents probably don't realize this, but other states do not have buyer brokers that spell out what the commission is. Like there's no buyer agency to sign. We have to sign our buyer agency beforehand. A lot of states, you don't have to do that, right? We're also positioned well because of our ERS showing the breakout of the buyer commission, right? And the seller initials right next to that saying they agree to that. Right. So we can easily defend ourselves against this compared to a lot of states where these are being filed where they don't have this kind of protection. So just know we're positioned well in order to combat this both locally and Fathom as a whole. Want to talk about disciplinary actions. This came out in the fourth quarter newsletter. There's a couple I want to highlight. The first one, sales agent in center field, stipulated order, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Flanders admitted that he represented a buyer in making multiple offers to purchase real estate without first obtaining a written agency agreement. In violation of Utah administrative rules, Mr. Flanders agrees to pay a $4,000 penalty. Okay. This is a hot button for me, right? I have a file with over 75 compliance agreements with agents just in Orem that haven't gotten their buyer broker agreement signed before representing a buyer and writing an offer. Right? The division is looking at these. Make sure, even on new construction, make sure you get your buyer broker signed first. Make sure you do it. Just get it signed. Even if we go back to lawsuits, right? Make sure you're getting your agency and spelled out what you're getting paid ahead of time. That's going to be a thing. It's going to be important. So make sure that you get those buyer brokers signed.
That one. And also, if you have the buyer
Hey, I went and talked to Eric. He's a great guy. He told me he wants to buy a house. We agreed. I'm gonna help him. It's gonna be no problem at all. We go write an offer on it. We don't get it, no big deal. We go write an offer on another one, no big deal. Finally write an offer, we get it signed. Okay, I'll write an agreement with you and get it buyer agency signed. It's lazy. It's not, it's against the rules of the division and it's lazy. It happens all the time.
I think too, there's a lot of agents that will go out with, and you go view a model home and also they're like, oh yeah, we want to write it. And they just also do it. You're like, oh crap, I haven't even sent my broker documents.
Yeah, new construction is a hard one, right? If you think your clients are gonna look at new construction, if it's even a remote possibility, I would tell you to get the buyer agency signed right. Second one, and this one is a common one again, but Ms. Goldberry was cited for advertising on social media without identifying the name of a real estate brokerage. Okay, the fine on that one, $500. These are plentiful. The division does these all the time. So if you're advertising in any way, shape, or form, make sure that you include the name of your real estate brokerage. One of the most common ones, Instagram, you'll post a picture and you'll not put the Fathom logo on it or whatever, right? If someone shares that picture, the text below it doesn't necessarily go with it. And so you're sharing stuff that you're associated with that doesn't have your brokerage on it. So just be very aware of that.
Now, does the brokerage have to be on the first page? I heard that if it's a click away, in other words, you click on the photo and then it displays the brokerage, you're okay. Is that the case anymore?
If that's the case, if it's not easy to just put your logo on it. So if the division says you could have easily put your logo or your brokerage information in this post or this advertisement, then it needs to be done, right? If it's not easy to do that, then it can be one. Absolutely better just to do it. Lead paint. So this is the next one. This came out as well. They're going to start looking at this. Lead-based paint, I think you all think is a super easy one. Here's something that almost all of you probably miss, that the agent must ensure that the seller and landlords are aware, have proper signatures, and that the warning pamphlet, the lead-based paint warning pamphlet, is delivered. And you have to retain that receipt that you actually delivered it to the other party for up to 3 years. Now that's typical, right? You have to keep that, all your documents that way. But just know that being able to prove that you delivered the warning pamphlet is a requirement.
Where is that warning pamphlet?
So that warning pamphlet can be found on the EPA site.
MLS on the right side.
On the MLS. It's also in Fathom resource.
But I mean, because they're signing that they received that, so what is that all they're asking for? So is it that agents are not having that part signed, like they sign everything else, just that they didn't?
It's not only that they're not signing it, it's not that they're not signing it, it's that they're not actually delivering.
So how are they proving that they never did?
They can't, right? Because they're signing it. But if you were to buy a buyer who said,
you need to somehow show proof.
You're gonna have to show proof.
Unless you got an email saying, that.
Here's the thing, right? The lead-based paint disclosure has all that on there. It has a checkbox to say, hey, I'm not gonna take my 10 days or whatever, and I got my pamphlet and all of that, and the buyer signs it. Here's what that section also says. The seller has attached the EPA pamphlet, Protect Your Family from Lead in Your Home, to this document. How many of you do that? When you send over the lead-based paint to the buyer, do you attach that pamphlet?
No, yeah.
It should be, right? That's what this says. As an agent, or as a seller has delivered.
As the buyer's agent.
The best way to do it, right? You're uploading this document where? In the MLS. Upload the lead-based paint pamphlet with it in the MLS. You've got them both there. It's easy to show, hey, they were both there. They were delivered to the buyer.
And you can also put it in your templates.
Absolutely.
In your listings and on your purchases.
So who would be responsible, the selling agent or the listing agent?
The seller is responsible to deliver it. You're responsible to tell your seller. So it's the listing agent. It's your responsibility to make sure that the buyer gets it. This was pointed out by Van Kagi. He's one of the lead investigators for the division. So he always writes a little thing in the newsletter. This is what he was talking about. Guaranteed if an investigator is talking about this, That's what he's looking for, right? So just be aware. Client appreciation stuff coming up. We're gonna have a movie night where we're gonna rent out Water Gardens theaters. Depending on how many we need, we'll rent as many as needed for your clients. And then that'll be in March, April, and then pool parties, June and July. If you'd like to participate in that, we've got a meeting right after this, as soon as we get done, 12:30. This is a great way to build business, to be honest. This is one of my favorite ways to build business with my clients. So if you're interested, 12:30 today, stick around, or we'll get you information if you can't stick around. Our award celebration. So our award celebration will be March 12th. Put that on your calendar, 10 o'clock a.m. It will be at the Hilton Garden Inn, which is the one where we had our Fathom trainings when we first switched over to Fathom, but it's right at the point of the mountain in Lehigh.
Right next to 15, isn't it?
Yep, right next to I-15, super easy to get to. That's 10 a.m. The Hilton Garden Inn in Lehigh will be providing breakfast, giveaways, awards, all kinds of good stuff. So make sure you come to that. RSVP to Maya if you're going to come, just so we know that you're going to be there and have enough stuff for you. Contacting us. I put this up last month. Well, what's it been, like 2 months, 3 months ago now. But as a reminder, Maya's awesome. She's amazing. But she gets paid hourly between the hours of 8:30 and 5:30. So try not to call her or text her or have her do stuff outside of her normal business hours. Call me. I'm happy to help you 24/7. It doesn't matter. But for Maya, just protect her time, right? I really, 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 really encourage her not to give you guys her cell phone number, but she's super nice and always does. So just please be nice to her in return. And then a reminder, check your email, or sorry, not your mail, your email, check your actual mail. So down here in the black file cabinet, lots of you guys got Christmas cards and all kinds of stuff sent to the office. So feel free to check your folder down there. After about 6 months, we clear them out and we keep everything in there. It's awesome. Maya and I love it. But there's lots of gift cards and stuff down there for you. So go check it. And then upcoming classes, I'll leave this up. The next slide is just if you've got questions or whatever. Here's what's coming up. We've got a CE class in 2 weeks, our tech class, our gym class on the 11th, masterminds, legal forms. And then our next team meeting will be on February 28th. And this year's a leap year, so enjoy that. Questions, comments,
When's
concerns?
the ninja training gonna be?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
That's all I can tell you. What else? All right. Tell camera thank you as you walk by and go grab some lunch and feel free to hang out.